These are some satellite images of typhoons. These are during the storm images of typhoons. And this is some typhoon aftermath. Now, if you've never seen the devastation of a typhoon, it's hard to imagine or give you an example of the devastation one can cause. But to help you do this, I'm going to give you some basic typhoon information, as well as the areas affected by typhoons, and follow that up with some things to do to prep for a typhoon if you are ever in the need of having to do so, or in the middle of a storm that you can't evacuate from. Now, all that, let me start with some basic information on typhoons. Now, what is a typhoon? A typhoon is basically a severe tropical cyclone. Now, all of this is according to the information I got at wikipedia.com and about.weather.com. Now, typhoons are mostly found in the northwest Pacific Ocean, and there are probably close to 40, maybe more typhoons per year. Now, the differences between typhoons and hurricanes are that typhoons rotate counterclockwise as hurricanes rotate clockwise. Now, also, typhoons are probably twice as frequent per year than hurricanes. Now, that is just some basic information on typhoons. Now I'd like to give you the areas that are most affected by typhoons. Now, typhoons are mostly found in, again, the Pacific Ocean. They are specifically found mostly in the Southeast Asia area, with the affected area of about 11 countries, and also the East China Sea, which is affected about 4 countries. A total of 15 countries roughly that typhoons do the most damage to. Now, according to Wikipedia, the amount of damage in 2011 caused by typhoons in this area, the entire area, the Southeast Asia and the East China Sea, was roughly $4.9 billion, and an estimated of 1,800 deaths in this area. Now, given the affected areas, I want to give you some information about what to do if you are ever faced with a typhoon. Now, of course, the first thing anybody can do is prepare. Now, to prepare, basically tie down anything you have that's loose in your area, in your yard, in your neighbor's yard, anything that you can possibly tie down, tie that down. And and what you should do to your buildings is you should shutter the windows, board up the windows, possibly put tape on the windows, and that would be effective in any blowout that a typhoon storm might cause. And of course, watch the storm's progress, because the one thing that you might have to do is evacuate, and that might be the only thing that you can do is evacuate, depending on the severity of the storm and the quality of your shelters. Now, I've given you basic information on typhoons, to include where they are in the Pacific Ocean, that a typhoon is actually a tropical cyclone. I've also given you the areas that are affected by typhoons, and I've also gone into what you can do to prepare for a typhoon. Now, knowing all this, hopefully you're more prepared for such a storm and are aware of the devastation that a typhoon might cause. Now, having said all this, probably the most important thing that you can take away from this information is to be prepared for a storm of this severity, and that is probably the best thing to do is just be prepared for the severity of a storm this magnitude, and don't take it for granted.